Nope, nope, we're gonna start. Wait, hold on. Hold on, everybody, because I forgot to fix my, camera. 1 second. Oh, that's better. That works better. Okay. Back to here. Yeah, there we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Play by Play. My name is Sean Bouchard. This is the show where I play video games and talk about experience design. I'm excited to be here. Week 3 of the spring semester of 2018, which is fun. Yeah, Jesus, I don't know what's going on. I've like really burned myself out last semester, like before the holidays and the new year, and I spent a long time sort of recovering from that, and have just started working on creative projects again, sort of on my own, which is great. I spent last weekend working on a card game, which is a neat little thing that I'm excited about, and works better than it might have, working on a secret project that I think is really cool and might take off. And then this weekend is the Global Game Jam. For those of you who are interested in that sort of thing, make sure that you check out the Global Game Jam website and see if there's a location hosting a jam near you that you can sign up for. If you want to meet some cool people and fool around and make a game in a very short period of time. Of course, for a game jam is just an excuse to make stuff. You don't need to spend a full 48 hours somewhere working on a game. You know, it doesn't need to take your whole weekend, but it can be fun to set aside a little bit of time and try to learn some things and try something new, and try to practice setting your sights in a way where you can accomplish something very small, which is a really valuable skill and a really useful thing to do every once in a while. So I'm excited about that. I am going to be doing that this weekend. I think that's it for welcome stuff, I think. Let's play Crimes and Punishment. So I've been thinking about this, and I was thinking about last week. We started a new case, so let's play through the new case and get to the end of that and see how that all goes. And then what I would like to do is pull up some info on the game and find out if we can learn anything about like what the rest of the game is and how they handle some of the unanswered questions that at least I have, and not actually play it, because I think I am pretty done with this. It's not bad. I like this game a lot, but I don't feel like I'm really learning anything new from it at this point, so I'd like to switch to something else. So after this case, I think that's what we're gonna do, but we will figure out sort of like the deal with the true answers to some of the mysteries, because I'm curious about that. All right. Right. This is the one, yes, with the garden and the bloodhound and the, obviously, complicit,
this Crocker
widow.
Do you think
it would be interesting to meet him? Our young friend should be able to find him.
What just happened? What just happened? I loaded the game into a cutscene. Is that, maybe that's a cutscene that we saw last time at the very end, and then, but it was before the save point? Like, that was super weird. Okay.
Wiggins, could you find a way to bring this Captain Crocker?
Yeah, okay, so he hasn't actually...
Yeah. Holmes, that could be dangerous.
No problem, Mr.
I just don't remember if we saw this cutscene or not. Oh, yeah, we did, because I remember this bit. Okay.
Mr. Holmes, I was informed that you were looking for me, and I'd like to know why.
Yes, it is important that we talk. You will soon understand why.
Okay, let's do our favorite thing. A clear look, so he's clearly honest. All right, well, good. I'm glad that we can tell that. I am missing some shit here, I think. Newspaper ink. Game volume seems really low. It is... Okay. It's pretty high. I think it's just not doing anything yet. Let's, well, there was some dialogue. But I can pull down my volume. If you guys would like that. This is where it's been, for the last couple weeks, though. Clean boots. I mean, clean boots, huh? Seems like a weird... He's got a knife, carrying a nice knife, but at least he's honest. What's the... What am I missing? Oh. Strong build.
You are acquainted with Lady Mary Brackenstall, are you not?
Yes, I think I do remember her, from when I was first officer, but I still don't see...
It seems your relationship went beyond that of mere passenger and first officer.
How dare you?
Indeed, how reckless a feeling.
Right.
Particularly if one is prepared to commit a murder in its name.
Explain yourself this instant.
You are aware that the murder made the headlines of the morning press. You read the newspaper report, but to your dismay, found it much fabricated. Once you learned that I wanted to see you, you came straight away. You needed to know what I had found.
You? And what do you know?
That evening, you were with Lady Brackenstall, despite the danger.
I'm not afraid, Mr. Holmes. Besides, all of this is just guesswork.
You would be right, if there was no evidence.
What then?
I mean, okay, I don't know if that's
Lady Brackenstall
evidence
tied
in
to a chair on the night of the murder.
Any
And it was you who tied her up.
way of meaning.
You call
I mean,
that evidence?
Q. Fake proof. I'm intimidating. Wait. We're doing a whole thing here. Okay, so narratively, what is happening? Sherlock Holmes is interrogating this guy that he thinks has something to do with the murder. Unclear exactly what role he played, but he certainly seems likely that he was involved in some way, or at least seems plausible. Confronting him, his gambit is, I already know that you did it, so tell me everything. But he doesn't actually see. This is where I get into it with Sherlock Holmes, because it's like the whole deductive reasoning and eliminate the impossible is all like well and good in theory, but in practice it is highly subjective, as it is employed by Sherlock Holmes in the stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The definition of impossible, when he uses it, is often societal. So, for example, he has sized this dude up, and because of his clear look, decided that he is a generally honest person. And now So therefore, it would be impossible for him to do something that would require him to be a habitual liar. Like, Holmes would consider that impossible. So what Holmes considers evidence is not always, in my experience reading Sherlock Holmes stories, doesn't always have any relationship to what I would consider evidence. So I'm surprised, actually, that, like, the sailor's knots is not evidence. Apparently that's being presented as fake proof. So, which is also confusing, because is he going to make up more than is actually there? Like, the sailor's knots is a real thing. She was tied up with sailor's knots. So somebody who knew how to tie sailor's knots tied her up. That doesn't mean that it was a sailor, and it certainly doesn't mean that it was this guy, but is there... what more is Sherlock Holmes looking for? Because that actually seems like Sherlock Holmes kind of evidence to me. Also, the ship crew. That is also... so I actually don't know which of these it would be. Except that the ship crew, there's no evidence there. That was very circumstantial. The sailor's knots, there's nothing to tie him specifically to it, but it does suggest that somebody who knew something was at the scene of the crime. So I'm going to go with that.
Yes, as she was tied with a sailor's knot. Your handiwork.
So, it's a sailor who's done it. That proves nothing, Mr. Holmes. I'm not the only sailor in London right now. Your theory is flawed anyway. On the night of the murder, I was aboard the Shark. I was supervising the repair of a porthole.
Is that Watson just, like, digging around in the fireplace?
You can ask the ship's carpenter. He can confirm.
He's not... he's just in the room. He's not paying any attention to the conversation.
Holmes, what should we do now? Would you like to check his alibi?
No, that seems fine.
There is no doubt that these men will testify in his favor, and there will be no way to check.
So, what's then?
So, we must work with what we have. We have all the puzzle pieces.
Apparently we have all the puzzle pieces.
Now I understand why you dissected the bell rope.
To prove that a knife cut the rope? Because he carried a knife, so it could have been his knife? What? What are you talking about? Oh my god. Okay. Crocker is lying. His involvement is clear. He appeared as soon as he heard that I was looking for him, thus signaling his guilt. Captain Crocker was aboard the Sharp on the night of the murder. He was not afraid to confront me. He had a confident demeanor. This is so stupid. I mean, okay. Okay, but I mean, that's not the only possible... Is the bee staying up because I'm done? There's no more evidence to collect? Investigate the murder at the Abbey Grange. Okay, that suggests that maybe I haven't fully investigated it. He's a fine man of the sea. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna no, go back here. I'm gonna go back to Abbey Grange. The fact that this is still on my agenda, is weird. It's like, it seems like usually the last thing on my agenda is like basically decide who the killer is. No, it's got the B fucking stuck up there. Like it really wants me to
Holmes, don't
decide.
look at me like that. I don't know what to think about all this.
Okay, so alternate theory. Hold on. So it had to be two people. Well, it had to be at least two people, and it sure seems like it was two people framing the Randalls. Because it was definitely an imitated robbery. And the poker blow, I mean, could have been accidental. But then I got nothing else. This is either robbery is the motive, or it was an imitated robbery. It doesn't. So it was an imitated robbery. Doesn't say whether that was before or after the fact. The Randalls, like the robbery was faked, so it was definitely not them. So there's no like it was an accident that then was. I mean, I guess if it was an accident, then nobody would like need to frame anybody for it. Okay, so let's say that it was. Here's where I don't. Sir Eustace was murdered by the one person who was visiting that night. It was he who tied up Lady Brackenstall. He is tall and strong. I guess he has to be tall because the rope was cut so tall. So it couldn't have been either Lady Brackenstall or her maid. Because that's the other thing that seems like, you know, feasible to me. Eustace was violent towards his wife. She is acquainted. Well, I guess I don't know that, but it seems like she is. Why can't I ask her about this dude? At least see if she says she doesn't know him.
Oh, what a horrible thing to have happened.
I can't actually even talk to her.
Please leave my Mary alone.
Okay, so...
She suffered so much.
Well, what the fuck then? I mean, that means that this is the only possible conclusion. I mean, these are just facts. So, we know it was a sailor, and we don't necessarily believe his alibi. But that doesn't, like, even that doesn't mean that it was him. Like, this is such unbelievably circumstantial evidence. So, I find that super frustrating. I find that, like, crazy frustrating. You have found and utilized all clues in the case. Please proceed to the deduction space. Well, Jesus fuck. Murder was committed in self-defense. Jack Crocker defended a woman against a violent and dipsomaniacal man. The mystery is solved, but you decide to keep it secret. There is no need to inform the police, especially since you don't have any fucking evidence. Evidence for 2 people, not 3, is twofold. First, there's the wine glasses, which there were two glasses of decanted wine had been poured and 1 glass of undecanted wine. And the suggestion is that 2 people were actually drinking wine and then they poured a 3rd glass just to make it look like there was a 3rd person. And then the second is a sort of Occam's razor thing of it definitely wasn't a real robbery. And so, like, maybe there were 3 people involved, or maybe there were 15 people involved. It's hard to say, but there were at least 2 people. Like, they needed 2 people in order to pull it off. There's no reason to suspect that there were more than 2 people. Okay.
Wiggins, could you ask Mr. Crocker to come here again, please?
Right away.
Barely an hour has passed.
Why did you make me come here again, Mr. Holmes?
It is over. I know that it was you who killed Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
What?
What that? Oh, Jesus Christ! That sound design, did you guys... Oh my god! Wow!
The knots were sailors' knots, and not least the sheer force that was put behind the killing blow. And because you are the only one who knows Lady Mary Brackenstall in London. And because you love her.
It's true.
It is time for you to tell us the whole truth.
I admit that I loved Mary madly from the first day that I met her. But I never did come to visit her, for I believed that she was in a happy household. When I talked to her maid, who told me everything, I was insane with rage. I was due to set sail for 6 months away. I wanted only to see her again. But it turned into a damnable nightmare when he barged in. He dared raise his hand to her. He was not even worthy of licking her boots. Oh, I regret nothing. I admit I killed the monster out of love for her. She will forgive me if she is able.
Lady Brackenstall already forgave you. She said nothing.
Mary.
But that makes her an accomplice as well as her maid. It places her in danger yet again.
Mr. Holmes.
You would not have managed to protect her.
Till I die, do you hear me? Here is a letter that sets everything clear. And it is the one that should be disclosed to the police. I am the only culprit. Mary had nothing to do with it. Now it is time to end this.
Whoa! Is that... Am I crazy, or is that more... Oh, shit! Oh, fuck! Oh, God! This is an action sequence, I guess? I'm not sure why. I mean, like, I was not gonna turn him in? I mean, like, maybe I would now, but... I had decided not to turn him in?
I wished only to test your sincerity, and your words and deeds have far exceeded my expectations. See here, Captain Crocker, we'll do this in due form of law. You are the prisoner. Watson, you are a British jury. Captain Crocker, the evidence shows that you acted without premeditation and used...
No, it doesn't! No, it doesn't! It does not! It doesn't show that even a little bit!
Your devotion pushed you to attempt to kill yourself in order to protect the one you love. Now, what say you, gentlemen of the jury?
Not guilty, my lord.
Vox populi, vox dei. You are acquitted, Captain Crocker. So long as the law does not
Oh,
find some
Jesus,
other
this is
victim,
so
you
fucking
are
crazy.
safe from me.
Oh my god.
Mr. Holmes.
It is a great responsibility that I take upon myself, but I will give Lestrade an excellent lead, and If he can't avail himself of it, I can do no more. Come back to your lady in a year, and may her future and yours justify us in the judgment which we have pronounced this night.
We are not arresting a woman who protected herself from an abusive husband.
What? Do you mean to tell me that you failed? Never thought I'd live to see the day.
I mentioned the murderers, not the case. It is obvious that the crime was committed by 3 criminals who cannot be the Randalls.
You really think so?
You only need to find a gang of 3 thugs wandering around. I can trust you to do that.
If they exist, I'll catch them.
You'll find someone, I have no doubt of it.
Wait, what?
Goodbye, Inspector.
But the suggestion there is that he pins it on the Randalls, despite all of the evidence that shows it's not them. He pins it on the Randalls, who the police are already on the lookout for, and as far as I can tell, are like a real gang of burglars. So it's not that they're good people, but like they didn't do this. When they get caught, it's the assumption that the police are too incompetent to possibly catch anybody that they're looking for, or is it because at the end he says like, I'm sure you'll catch somebody. It sure seems like Sherlock Holmes has just set up a situation for somebody who is innocent of this crime to be arrested and prosecuted for it, which, like, all of the morality of the captain dude aside, is super weird. Oh, it wasn't the Randalls, it was a random gang of 3 people. Will the case break down at trial? I mean, the rules of this do not seem to be the ones that I am operating under as a citizen of the United States in 2018. That's all that I'm saying, is that, like, it seems like Sherlock Holmes is going to the police, as a private detective, is going to the police with little to no evidence, and that is resulting in serious consequences for the people who are accused of crimes. So, if they catch a random dude, or like 3 people who may or may not have robbed somebody, and they pin this crime on them based on Sherlock Holmes' evidence or description of the culprit, like, who's to say that that doesn't go badly for them? It seems likely that it would. Police cannot catch criminals in 3s. They only carry 2 pairs of cuff. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. What? This is so fucking weird. Okay, accept decision. So people who solve the case the same way, 93 fucking %. I am honestly uncertain what the other 7% did. I don't know how you solve this case any other way. I really don't. I really don't. People who made the same moral choice, because that was a really not complex in the sense that, like, there were subtle shades to it and it was hard to decide what to do. Complex in the sense that, like, the decision that you were making was not clear and was not like really didn't carry through in a reasonably expected way. So I don't even know what to think of that number. Wow. Okay. Weird. Crazy. That was crazy. Oh, sorry. It's This game is all right. Let's see what the opening is for the next thing. I want to look at the
Whatever's going on?
Holy shit! What is
Hello,
going
Watson.
on?
You're early. Did you kill all of your patients?
What? Holmes, where have all these wretched bees come from?
I increased the temperature of the room so as to prevent them from hibernating. I needed to take a sample of honey. But it worked, Watson. We will have honey all year round.
Ridiculous and dangerous.
They're domestic bees, Apis mellifera, such industrious workers. Anyway, Watson, I am sorry, but I must leave you. I'm in rather a hurry.
You have a new case?
Yes, but nothing as thrilling as this experiment. A theft of plants at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. I'm helping a minister who's an old friend of mine. You can join me if you like.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these workers of yours. Besides, you'll need a helping hand with the flowers you're intending to bring back.
Watson, how ever did you guess?
For the great Sherlock Holmes to bother with the theft of plants. Come on, admit that you're planning to spoil your little bees with some rare pollens.
Oh my god.
Since when did I become so transparent? Let us go.
So Sherlock Holmes is sitting in his window seat, plucking at the strings of a violin until Watson comes in and finds the apartment filled with bees. And then Holmes immediately says, sorry, can't stick around. I'm in a huge rush. What? What? What the hell is going on? This is so weird. There's definitely, like, I feel like the coherence of the story and the character is not a top priority for this game. And some of that is that I'm not sure the coherence of the character or the story was ever top concern for Sherlock Holmes, or at least in the way that modern audiences would think about it. And so maybe that is preservation of the original text. But Jesus Christ, it is weird. It is weird to play. Okay, so here's the deal. I think I'm gonna do this. I think this is exactly what I want to do. So we're gonna read a little bit about this game, and then we'll do maybe some Q&A and see how that goes and how long it goes, because this was real quick, and then play a game just for tonight for a little bit. But I want to see, so I'm curious what the in-game interface is for this. So if you remember back to the first episode of the show, first episode of the game, Fate of Black Peter, dude skewered with a whaling spear in his gardening shed, something like that. Jetlag, I would love to hear your thoughts on this versus the original stories. So let's also do some of that. Let's just do some general debriefing, I think, because we did a Q&A last time and answered a bunch of questions. I guess we didn't get through all of the questions, but I think it'll be all right. So Peter Carey was murdered by Patrick Cairns, a professional harpooner, which seemed to make sense. The only one capable of executing such an accurate throw. His tobacco pouch was found inside Carey's cabin. He's a cold-blooded murderer. You decided to bring him to justice. Found 16 clues. Cairns is guilty, and we condemned him. Correct. He was guilty. 79% solved the case the same way, and only 38% made the same moral choice. So we were harsher than others. The condemnation, like, the moral choice is kind of a weird one. Like, that's super subjective, because it's not, I don't necessarily feel better about it because he actually was guilty, but because I read what his intent was, like, I judged him based on how much like, that's weird. That is a little bit weird. But, okay, at least we got it right. So that's good. This is the train one. And this is the one, like, more than any of the others that we have played, that it really felt like there were some different ways this could have gone. Like, there was intrigue between two groups of businessmen that were on the train, and then there was also this invention thing that was like a scam, and like there was a bunch of different stuff. Like we could have chosen a solution that was radically different. I find that super interesting, and I'm kind of disappointed that that hasn't been the status quo. But decided that Robinson, that like inventor guy who was in the train station, was a swindler. Disappeared the train in order to cover for the fact that his invention was nonsense, and accidentally killed a bunch of people in the process. Oh shit! Got that fucking wrong. So what actually happened? I guess we are going to have to look further to find out. Only 2% of people solved the fucking thing that way. I got all the clues. Okay, I got all the clues on both of those. All right, and then Mexicans drowned the Chileans. Is that really what happened? Okay, well, I want to look at. I want to know more. So this is the last one with the sauna that we just did. I found all the clues here. Garrow with the silver knife. Definitely silver knife. I guess Garrow, but and then I kind of no. I condemned him, and then that went really badly, and so I went back and absolved him. It was not him. Well, fuck, Jesus. Okay, all right. How did we do on this last one where there was really only one answer? Okay, it was him, and 65% of people made the same moral choice. I mean, it was definitely him, because he confessed to it at the end. That's weird. Okay, so let's... I have thought about this, and then I forgot to set up an HTML viewer. Where am I gonna... what is this game called? Crimes and Punishments? Crimes and Punishments Riddle on the Rails. Final deduction on guides.gamepress. Game pressure? It's a weird... Okay. This looks terrible. I should have looked this up ahead of time. Sorry, everybody. Right or wrong decisions, walkthrough. I just want to, like, explanation. Where, well, dang. It doesn't exist in the way that I want it to. I'm going to have to, like, synthesize it from a bunch of stuff. According to the game, the Mexicans decided to kill the board of directors of the Chilean company by sinking the train into the lake. So they got everyone to go down to Bridlington. They got the station manager drunk to be able to build their fake train, but at that moment they also have the real train. Station manager, completely drunk, notices that a train is there and remembers that he's supposed to send a telegram, but despite being manager for a certain amount of time, sending the same message over and over, he still needs a Morse code alphabet to send the telegram. 100 meters before Doncaster, train takes a left turn, rushes into the lake. Okay. And then they, okay, oh, okay, and then they pay him off, I guess, to, say that the train passed by. And then the Mexicans decided that killing the whole board of directors was not good enough, and they destroyed the mines. I mean, this is written by somebody who is upset about the actual ending. Interesting. I don't really remember why I thought that wasn't the answer. Except that it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. So it might be for that reason. Okay, well, alright, well that's not... why... I really want, here is the correct answer, and here is why you should have chosen it. I don't feel like that exists within the game. Within the game as I am playing it. I don't feel like... Which I guess that's sort of the point, right? The point of this whole, punishment system is that I don't get to know what the correct answers are, and so, there's explicitly justifying answers doesn't make any sense. But it does seem like there's something wrong with the game. What you want out of a puzzle is for it to be hard, but when you solve it, to think, of course, that was the only possible solution. I've been doing a lot of crosswords lately, and I love crosswords, and they're not perfect, and often I will get to the end of a crossword and have, just one letter that's wrong, or a couple of letters that I can't figure out because I don't know how to spell, or it's something weird. But in general, the thing that's cool about crosswords is that if you get an answer wrong, it's just trivia. It's trivia and riddles. But the riddles aren't... It's mostly trivia. It's mostly just trivia. But if you get an answer wrong, then that will fuck up your other answers. And so it's easy to see, at some level... holy shit, there must be something wrong here because these answers don't line up properly. And once, and even if that is really confusing and hard to decipher, and it's hard to solve the puzzle, when you solve the puzzle, you're left with this grid of letters that could kind of only possibly exist the way that it is. You know that it's right because it couldn't possibly be any other solution, because any other solution would screw the whole thing up. That, to me, that's the, that's the mark of really, really good puzzle design. I saw this a lot. I'm gonna go back to Portal. Portal's, classic puzzle game. Absolutely my go-to. I overuse it as an example. But playing that game for the first time, I think that we saw some of this in... what was that game? Antichamber. You encounter a puzzle, or I would encounter a puzzle and say, Jesus, I have no idea how to solve this, and tinker around with it for a little while, and then at some point have it click and be like, oh shit, yes, of course. How did I not see this before? That's a really good puzzle. And there was a really cool moment. I guess this is part of it. Maybe this is part of it on the Riddle on the Rails. Is there was a really cool moment where I was like, oh, Mexican and Chilean businessmen having a little bit of a rivalry over this mine. This is some crazy stuff. I wonder which of them well, I guess not which of the, because the Chileans all died, so probably it was the Mexicans who did it. But I wonder, did they drive the train into a lake, or did they collapse a mine on top of it, or blah, blah, blah. And then it was no, maybe dig a little bit deeper. and find that actually, like, this maybe seems like it is. This all seems very suspicious, but actually there are people who are trying to cover up even more plausible explanations for what happened, and it requires like this investigation, and it's sort of like, oh, it was none of this crazy Chilean miner stuff at all. Anyway, hi Marty.
Hi.
How you doing?
There's a lot of what the fuck's coming to
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that's my whole deal. Sherlock Holmes. Have you read a lot of Sherlock Holmes stuff?
No, I'm more of a Hercule Poirot kind
Yeah.
of girl. Why?
Agatha Christie. Well, just a lot of the actual like mystery and mystery solving in this game, in a way that I think reflects my experience with Sherlock Holmes, doesn't make a lot of sense.
I mean, like,
that's
Moriarty
really
did it, right? That's
No! Well, there's no Moriarty in this game, so I guess
That's
maybe
what you
he's
think.
secretly
That's
doing
what
it.
you
He's
think.
doing all of it behind the scenes. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
Hello, Thriceman? I don't know how to say your name. Okay, see you. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, we're sticking around, but
Okay.
good luck.
Alright, cool.
Call friends.
Alright, I'm gonna stop this. The Iceman, holy shit, that is very good. Sorry. Hi, the Iceman. It's elite. It had a 3 in it, and I saw TH3, and I thought thrice. I don't know. It's okay, whatever. I had one other thing that I wanted to look up. Oh, I cannot look this up. Somebody in chat maybe can tell me. I'm curious about sort of like how all of this concludes. Is there anything, like, what happens at the end of the game after you solve the last case? Does it wrap up in any kind of meaningful way? There's not really any thread that connects these cases either inherently or even like on some sort of an epinarrative layer. Like, there's I guess like part of what is weird to me is that if you took these and you just rearranged the order of them, it wouldn't seem to make any difference, which is strange. That's episodic, right? That's episodic storytelling. So how do you end a really episodic collection of stories? Do you? I don't know. Maybe you don't. Coco Kringle suggests that there is a terrorist group that comes up once in a while. That is true. And your brother, what's his name, was like hunting them in one of these, and you confront them at the end. So I see. So it sort of like teases that there is there's a big bad at the end, and it's not related to anything, but it is it's sort of teased the whole way through, and then you the last case sort of deals with them. That makes sense. Okay. 7:51. So let me see if Jetlag was talking about the original stories for the ones that were based on original stories. Let me see. Here we go. I'm just going to read this. Hope that's okay. Original story has a daughter that you interact with more than the wife. I think this is Abby Grange. Original story has a daughter that you interact with more than the wife. I think she was left out mostly for conciseness. I think the reason most people went for Cairns being... Oh, no. This is the... Sorry. Okay. This is Black Peter, which was also based on a Sherlock Holmes story. I'm trying to remember. I guess the wife was... she was up on the like garden terrace, right? Okay, I kind of remember that. I just lost this. What happened? Sorry. Okay, so the daughter was cut out entirely. I think the reason most people went for Cairns being the murderer, but not as cold-blooded, because Peter Carey had a knife which he used. It was bloody, and that's not something that you'd be able to do from across the room. Probably, this is what the original story concludes, Cairns confronted Carey about the securities. So wait, sorry, I gotta, real quick. Carey is the person who got murdered. Okay. Cairns confronted Carey about the securities. Carey got angry, pulled a knife, and then Cairns grabbed one of the harpoons and stabbed Carey. The big thing that tips Sherlock towards Cairns is that there are 3 bottles of liquor, gin, vodka, and rum, and only the rum had been drunk, thereby signifying a sailor, because rum is a sailor's drink. Like, that's the kind of thing that I mean is fucking batshit insane. Like, it's cool. I guess part of what I liked more about the Abbey Grange affair, although I am frustrated by it at the same time, is that all of this inductive stuff that Sherlock Holmes does, inductive being the kind of reasoning where you extrapolate from a set of examples about what to predict what other items might be in that set. So, for example, I know that generally speaking, rum is a sailor's drink. So if all that they were drinking was rum, even though there were other options, it's probably because they were both sailors. That's fine. That is fine detective work. It is terrible police work. It's really good detective work if it leads you to something that you wouldn't have otherwise had any connection to, where you can find evidence. So if it leads you to a person that then you can get a confession out of, totally makes sense to me. If it leads you to a place that you wouldn't have searched otherwise, and there's evidence there that connects somebody to the crime, fucking brilliant. That's great. If it is the basis on which you make a judgment about who is guilty, like, that seems super insane to me. That seems super insane to me. Yeah. Okay, anyway. Abbey Grange. In the original story, Holmes is irked with being given an obvious case, but then realizes the wife's story has too many holes. Randall Ging ends up being arrested in New York, so weren't in town when the murder happened. Holmes confronts Crocker, who's the only sailor around from the ship that sailed from Australia. He confesses and wants to be turned in, but Holmes does the whole trial thing. Holmes says he'll only say something if someone else is charged, rather than the weirdness that happened in the game. That is actually... Oh, no, you're totally right. So, oh, shit. Oh, that's so fucking weird. Okay, so a couple things. One is, it seems goofy to me... This is just the formula. This was a terrible story to pick. That's where the decision is. Like, that's where the problem is. The Abbey Grange affair, like, they should have saved that for The Devil's Daughter, or, like, whatever their next Sherlock Holmes game would have been. Because it seems like the natural thing to do with that would have been to confront what's his name? Because it's not Carrie. It was Crocker. To confront Crocker, have him confess, and then have the player make a choice about whether or not to drag him over the coals for it. Like, that would have been a much more interesting decision for me as a player. Or that was the decision that I made, right? Like, there, as far as I could tell with the evidence that I found, there wasn't any other suspect. So I didn't choose a suspect. I only chose whether to let him go or not. And I did it before he confessed, before I properly confronted him. That seems really weird. It seems like the natural place to do that, to make that choice, would be after confronting him about it. But the formula for this game is you have to use this deductive UI. You have to use this, like, neural UI to assemble your clues and decide how the crime went down, and do that sort of all in one step. So when Sherlock Holmes decides that Crocker must be the culprit, is also when he has to decide whether or not to set him free. And it was really weird to me to have that, to make that decision so early, and then have a whole scene play out where he, like, pulled a gun on me, because that definitely would have changed the way that I answered that question. And then, so the other thing that Jetlag pointed out was that there's this Sherlock Holmes says that he just won't turn Crocker in, but he will come forward if somebody else is convicted, and presumably, like, Crocker might get into trouble at that point if there's no other way around it, but to make sure that an innocent person isn't convicted of the crime, which totally makes sense. There was actually a line kind of like that in the dialogue in this game. I wonder if it's recorded here. No, because this is just case by case. So no. And the line had to do with you'll be fine unless you commit another crime. Which on its surface kind of sounds like the statement that Jetlag is reporting Sherlock Holmes says in the story, except not actually. It doesn't have the same meaning at all. Instead of saying, instead of clarifying that he would protect an innocent person who might be convicted of the crime, he's just saying, as long as this is the only crime you commit, you're going to be fine. It's weird. It's weird, 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 weird. Okay. Cool. Okay. Rad. Let's take a short break and then come back, and we're going to do something. I mean, this might be a terrible disaster. This might be awful. We'll find out. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be fun. So don't go away. Give me just a couple of minutes to set up, and I will be back. How do I get out of this? There. All right.